Stage lights cold as a winter rain. One breath, one prayer, then the world went strange. Crowd froze up when the thunder cracked. Truth on a mic and a life attacked. He talked about hope in a storming land, Bible in the heart and a promise in his hands. But a shadow reached from a coward's perch, cut down a son in the middle of church. And I swear if the tables turned the other way, y'all know there'd be fires in the streets today. But here we stand with candles and a folded flag, begging God for mercy on the road we drag. How dare they steal the breath from a faithful man? How dare they stain the grass where his boots once stand? They call us evil, point at our cross, then pull that trigger and reckon no cost. If it were theirs, there'd be sirens and flames, but we're praying for truth while we whisper his name. Charlie, we ain't letting go of your hand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, Erie County. Things are looking a little different tonight. I do apologize for that, but fortunately, we are actually boots on the ground road show tonight. I'm out of town at a secret training facility to do some training, so we can't discuss that on an open line because the haters are everywhere. But here we are. We still wanted to keep the show up and running. Of course, Brenda is really at the helm tonight, sitting at the command center with the laptop, and I'm literally sitting in a chair with a. I brought a studio light with me. I brought everything I could to try to like do this, and unfortunately, the Wi-Fi here is not very good. So I do apologize. Some things will be limited. I cannot read your text messages because I'm literally on my phone. So, Brenda, if there's something good, just kind of blurt it out for me because, again, even with my glasses on, the screen's that big because the phone is only that big. You were going to use my. I brought my tablet. That'd have been a little bit bigger, but then unfortunately, we do have some Wi-Fi issues. They say high-speed internet, but hey, whatever. So we adapt, we overcome, we get the show out. I'm just doing it live from the phone. Brenda's got control of go live, put videos up, put videos down. I'm literally sitting in a chair just talking to you guys. So like I said, Brenda, if there's something that comes in the room, good. I always say hi to everybody. They're like that big on my screen. So I'm not even going to squint my eyes. I could grab my glasses, but I don't know. I don't even think that would help because they're so small. But again, a lot of things going.
As of right now, we have Jeff, Lance, Mr. Mayor Andrew Graves, Kim Hunter, Glenn Saft, Brenda Nowak, who said that she wants the flags at half-mast for the slain National Guard hero. We have
that's up to the president.
Right. We have April, and we have Mama and Matt.
Good. Well, the usual cast of characters are arriving, and I appreciate that. Like I said, other than the optics of what I look like, the show is exactly the same intro, same everything. It's of course, we use Restream. So all I did was sign on a Restream through my phone, and it gives me access, and I just need a camera. And then Brenda's going to go on Walmart, see if I can get a headset and a microphone to clear up the sound a little bit because we wanted to use a laptop, but unfortunately the Wi-Fi was not cooperating. So again, adapt and overcome. So here we are. We got a lot of things to talk about. We always have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things going on all over the world, all over the state. Of course, the laughing stock, I think, of Pennsylvania right now is Josh Shapiro. He's so proud of his legislation. We talked about that last week, but it is still tearing up the internet. If that's the biggest legislation he can come up with as governor, it is time for Stacey Garrity. I'm telling you guys, we were going to put Stacey's ads up here. I'm on the online for a 4x8 sign for Stacey. They put it on the trailer so we can take that around once winter breaks. I can go down to Stan's field and we'll get Stacey Garrity out and about. I talked to her campaign folks. They said they're going to try to get her on the show. She's been a big supportive of Erie County. We've supported her in all her endeavors, and I know she's going to have no problems. Gabe was on the show last week. He's got a big recruiting thing coming up December 4th. If you need some more details about that, go on my Facebook page, and all that information is there. A nice Patriot has opened up their home to have this training event at. We're going to try to do some things when the weather breaks all over East County, West County, South. I know Gabe asked about finding some locations out in East County in this neck of the woods. We're working on that. I said, it's just kind of odd. We got the holidays around the corner. People are kind of focusing on that. So I think, we'll just keep a steady little reminder about getting people registered. We're still looking for people to come on the Republican local committee. I tell you what, Kim has been out there recruiting and getting people to sign up. I have people send me a text message. Hey, how do we get involved? We want to be a committee person. Please reach out. Please reach out to be a committee person, because those committee people have the voice and the votes to move the Republican Party locally. You really do. We don't know who the chairman's going to be. If I'm asked to run, I will accept, and like we said on county council, vote it up or vote it down. Then we'll have to figure out who our vice will be. I have a good idea who that will be, but again, I'm not here to taint the opinions. I'm just here to gingerly nudge you in a certain direction. It's your vote, your voice, and that's what matters. But again, committee people, and we got to get people registered to vote. I watch Caleb, his social media. I watch it pretty tight. He does a great job. He had guys come over, the plumbers come over to work at his house. Bang! He got 2 new registers, new Republicans, and going to vote early. So you can't tell me it can't be done. Here, this guy, he's always recruiting. Kim, I swear she could go into, a Walmart and walk out with 2 voters. So we can all do that if we all. I think the number's 10. I think that's what I think Tim Kuzma said. If we can just each get 10, I think we will be in a lot better shape than we were. Then the next challenge is to get everybody to utilize those mail-in ballots. You can poo-poo them all day long. That's fine. But guess what? If we don't, we're just going to keep not winning. And again, I don't think we got beat up as bad in Erie County as the Democrats like to run around and we had a blue wave, man. No, actually, had a blue swirly in the toilet. That's about all I can say on that one. We talked about it. My opinion on it. That race was not so great, but really, we didn't lose that much. We really, really didn't. It would have been great to gain some, but you know what? That was an uphill battle, and we knew that politically and the numbers. I don't always agree with the number guys that said that, yeah, this is a clear victory. No, nope, not a clear victory. So again, a lot of things going on, things coming up for next year. If we do not change the direction of the local Republican Party, if we don't change the direction of the state Republican Party, we will get stuck with TikTok Governor Josh Shapiro. But again, he's going to run for president. He could even care less if that's all he can come up with as a hair legislation, and he wants to run for president. He doesn't have a prayer to get out of the primary. I predict he will not even make it out of the primary if he actually steps up. I think he will. He's been out flying around in our jet that we pay for to go campaign for him to run for president. We don't want you, Josh. We don't want you as a governor. We don't want you as the president. Stop wasting our tax dollars. So, got a lot of cool videos. We got some funny ones. We got some good ones. Again, not to try to be too deep. We're going to try to keep it short tonight. Again, we're just literally crossing our fingers that we can stay online long enough to get what we need to get talk about and get everything. And to have some fun videos and some really scary stuff. I mean, this is stuff that needs to be on every news network, but unfortunately, it's getting minimum traction of the corruption coming out of Minnesota. Let me put my shock face on, and then this whack job, tampon Timmy, calling for the president. He wants to see his MRI. What? You want to see the president's MRI because Tim thinks he's crazy. Talk about calling the kettle black. Literally calling the kettle black. We're going to talk about a big court case out of Somalia where they had some, tons of money, just welfare fraud. Went to court. The jury found them guilty, and a liberal judge overturned the jury's conviction. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not, but I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know how a judge that looks like she's 16 years old, white female, can overturn a jury conviction. I mean, again, anybody who was a legal beagle want to chime in on this one? Shoot me a text. I'd love to hear the legal mumbo jumbo on that one. So, Brenda, what do you got? What do you got for videos for us today? I can't see the list, so I trust you.
She's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her.
Yeah, unfortunately, she left us. We will never, ever forget her. We will never forget this incident, because I'm telling you, this incident is a turning point. Of course, the whack job left. Oh, it's President Trump's fault because the troops shouldn't have been there. Well, maybe if these whack job Democrat mayors and governors would do their job and enforce the laws, we wouldn't have these problems. We wouldn't have to send in the National Guard. And, the world is if, would have, could have, and should have. But unfortunately, when we all raise our right hand and we take that the oath to the Constitution, remember, there is no expiration date. This young soldier gave her life and for her country, and for that she has my ultimate respect. And she is on a long list of American heroes. So again, make sure you, if you see a post about this, say something positive. Now we have that. I didn't realize it. The other gentleman that was injured was an Air Force staff sergeant. I thought he was Army, but he was actually Air Force. So again, to all our Air Force veterans and everybody, let's send a special prayer for our young staff sergeant. He was not very old, and a speedy recovery. It appears. I've read some stuff from the family. He is doing better. Eye movement, responding to the stimuli. So that's very, very promising. But again, he's got a long road of recovery. So again, if you're out there, those folks out there praying, sending nice thoughts, and you know what, don't feed into the hate, because you know what, we're going to show some real hate coming up here. What do you got next, Brenda? But I got to tell you, that is a dedicated American that straps on a harness and gets hoisted. I couldn't even guess. If anyone wants to put a guess how high that flagpole was, go ahead. I don't even know how to measure that out. But again, that's what America's all about. That just pushing that threshold just a little bit. Again, my pulley broke at the top of my little flagpole, and I couldn't fix it. And Stan and his creative engineering and his Chevy pickup, a dump truck, came over and we took it apart. He again, it works in a machine shop. He had to machine a special adapter, and we fixed it. He fixed it. I stood there to hold the ladder. So again, this is what makes our country great, is the fact that there's that creative engineering, adapt and overcome. And you know what? I refuse to let the haters win. I refuse. And you know what? Don't feed into their hate, because they only survive on that hate. And that's exactly what they're doing. And that's just like these terrorists. Terrorists only survive on the whole word of terror, because if they're not terrorizing people, they're useless. They're just keyboard heroes. Most of like the Democrat Party, and especially the clowns we have running around smearing the name of State Representative Bob Mursky. The ones that Bretton Davis and myself that had all these fake websites and Facebook pages. We know who you are. You're not fooling anybody. And you know what? Don't pretend to be something you're not, because you're just posers. Video, please, Brenda.
Trump posting on Truth Social that he will terminate the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. In his post, he says the reason is, quote, Minnesota, under Governor Walz, is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity. I am, as the President of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the temporary protected status, TPS program, for Somalis in Minnesota. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of that great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Send them back to where they came from. It's over, President DJT, end quote. Now, we have reached out to Governor Tim Walz for a comment, but have not heard back tonight. Somalia's protective status currently runs through March 2026. Now, tonight, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responding to Trump's post on Twitter, saying, I am a citizen, and so are majority of Somalis in America. Good luck celebrating a policy change that really doesn't have much impact on the Somalis you love to hate. We are here to stay.
Dozens of people of East African descent have been charged, convicted, and sentenced for stealing more than $1 billion in taxpayer money from government programs during COVID. As you know, Governor, that is more than Minnesota spends each year to run its Department of Corrections. So I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals.
And to think we could have had their buffoon of a Governor Tim Walz as vice president. Here with more details, senior national correspondent Kevin Cork. Kev.
Listen, Laura, it just gets worse and worse. You've already heard this story sort of play out over the last several days. Somalia-based terror group Al-Shabaab. Of course, it's also been linked to the radical Islamic terror group Al-Qaeda. It's considered a major threat to the U.S. and our interests. Well, apparently it's been the beneficiary of money stolen in a spate of scams in Minnesota by criminals in the Somali community there. Now, that's according to a report in the City Journal, and it's citing federal counterterrorism sources. Now, the Journal says millions of dollars in taxpayer money were stolen as part of a series of massive Minnesota welfare fraud schemes. And what's more, this is part of a disturbing pattern. You may remember in recent months we heard about the U.S. Attorney of Minnesota uncovering multi-million-dollar fraud schemes targeting the state's Medicaid housing stabilization program and a federally funded autism program for kids. Now, the state's top prosecutor believes billions, with a B, in taxpayer money has been stolen as a result of the fraud, and it makes its way to Al-Shabaab through untold millions of dollars dollars in cash that's remitted back to Somalia from Minnesota and then through a network of handlers known as hawalas. These are the guys that sort of clean or launder the money. And sadly, Minnesota has been plagued by several high-profile fraud scandals in recent years. You might remember the biggest was that Feeding Our Future scam. That's the one where they've already racked up 56 criminal convictions. It was a program meant to feed kids during the pandemic. Prosecutors allege they stole some $300 million from that federally funded program.
Minnesota is home to the largest Somali community in the country. It numbers roughly 87,000, according to the latest census figures. Meantime, Minnesota House Speaker and Republican gubernatorial candidate Lisa Dameth issuing a statement tonight, reading in part, quote, "The unfortunate reality is that far too many individuals who were welcomed into this country have abused the trust and support that was extended to them, and Minnesota taxpayers have suffered billions of dollars in consequences as a result," end quote.
Out the way, Bulls. Out the way. Out the way. You're gonna get knocked down. Move.
Well, Tim. Good job. Unbelievable. And like the newscaster said, he could be the vice president right now. You imagine Dumb and Dumber running this country right now? I don't even know. I can't even put a hypothesis on this one because it would just be out of control. Literally out of control. The border would be wide open. They'd still be pouring in here and, just manipulating the system, lie, cheat, steal their way into this country and bring this country to its knees, not even firing a shot. And that's exactly what they're doing. So yeah, what else you got, Brenda?
A big reversal in a $7.2 million fraud case in Hennepin County. The judge has thrown out the jury's guilty verdict. This is a case Lou Raguse has been following since the beginning. The judge's actions could make it harder to prosecute state fraud cases in the future. Lou?
Julie, it's extremely rare for a judge to reverse a jury's verdict in a criminal case. Jurors I spoke to today told me it was not a difficult decision to find Abdi Fattah Yusuf guilty in a Medicaid billing scheme, and they're surprised by this development.
At the August trial for Abdi Fattah Yusuf, the jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company Promise Health out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located. Yusuf and his wife Lol Ahmed were charged with stealing $7.2 million of taxpayer money through Medicaid overbilling in a personal care assistant or PCA scam. The couple allegedly spent tens of thousands of the fraud money on luxury items for themselves. Despite the jury swiftly convicting Yusuf, Judge Sarah West last week decided they got it wrong.
It's reversing or overturning a jury's verdict.
Defense attorney
Can't make this stuff up, people. It does get some news play, but it doesn't get on the big news because they're trying to squash and keep the people like us uninformed because they're trying to have plausible deniability that this stuff is going around all around us. And look at this SNAP issue. By gosh, look at how many people have been caught with their hands in the cookie jar receiving SNAP benefits. They're not supposed to. Those are our tax dollars. And I know we're supposed to help build the community, but they're ripping us off. They are literally ripping us off. And you know that they're in trouble when the Democrat Party took out a $15 million loan. What's the matter, George? $15 million loan for the Democrat Party. I mean, here it is. I mean, this stuff is out there. Even some of the local news entities, I can't read that, Brenda, so I'm not even going to try. That the stuff is going on all around us.
It's talking about how Omar and her family may be deported due to their illegal citizenship.
Yeah, that would be great. I know they've been kicking this one around ever since Trump got in office. But you know what? I hate to say this, but these Democrats obviously are above the law. They are. And look at the rhetoric from the left. Epstein, 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 Epstein. Here it is. And now it's on to the treacherous six dilemma. They always have like one more drama in the shadows. So when it fails, which they always do, Russia, Russia, Russia. Remember that one? Remember that one? COVID, 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 COVID. You know, they always seem to have one disaster stockpiled in the shadows, ready to go. When that one fails, because they know it will fail because it's all bullpucky, and it fails, so then they bring the next one on there. And again, Epstein, 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 and who got caught with their hand in the cookie jar? But the Democrats. And you know, you look at Mr. Kelly, Mr. Astronaut, Mr. I'm just going to go to work and Trump's not going to intimidate me. There's pictures of him and George Soros and the grandson. So guess who's financing him? Guess who's been? This is all they do is they all run together. They finance each other, and they get what they want out of the deal. And they literally are above the law. They are. Until I start seeing handcuffs on people, I'm just going to go, yeah, I told you, they are above the law. But they're the ones that scream bloody murder that Trump wasn't above the law. Nobody's above the law. So they whip up, 34 false baloney. They get him convicted. It gets overturned again. His case in Georgia of what was it, that voter intimidation, trying to get thrown out. Everything that they throw at him doesn't stick because it's lies and deception. But all it does is give the left more fodder to more things to go on social media and create this storm of hate, because all they're doing is feeding the fire, fanning the fire with all this hate. And it is, and that's all it is. And that's all the tactics they have left is nothing but lies, deception, and hate. You just wait to this one crazy lady video we got here coming up. I mean, she is the poster child of Trump derangement syndrome and hate. Brenda.
That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way.
Let's take this back to the beginning.
Okay, guys. So I would like to start a new movement called See MAGA, because people like that respond to fear and terror and aggression, not logic and empathy and, I don't know, intelligence. It doesn't work for them. So fear works. So if we all get our guns and use our Second Amendment right and our common sense, at this point this administration is begging us to rise up and revolt. And you see somebody with a MAGA hat? Pew pew. That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way. Put them back in their basements, make them scared again.
You know, what drives somebody to become so extreme about half the country? Like, think about that for a second. And yes, she could have something mentally wrong with her. That is a possibility. But the bigger thing I want to focus on is the Democrats' messaging. Their messaging is very emotional. Rather than attacking issues, they attack people. Rather than saying, hey, your idea sucks, they tell their base that you're evil, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a Nazi, you're like Hitler. The party and their messaging has become very extreme. And this is one of the reasons why they're bleeding voters. But a lot of their content is so extreme and emotionally manipulative that it gets people to think things like this. Ask yourself, why were we not seeing multiple assassination attempts on Kamala Harris? Why not? It's not because she's good and Trump's bad. It's because one side demonizes the other side so much to their own base that that base then thinks that these people quite literally will destroy the country, put people back in chains, and do horrible things to people. The Democrats emotionally manipulate people on a regular basis in order to get their vote and in order to keep their vote.
Emotionally manipulate with nothing but hate. And when their gears are slipping, it doesn't take much to throw the sprocket right off the shaft and the whole machine crashes. And that's exactly what the Democrats have been trying to do. Now, this guy had a great point. They are hemorrhaging Democrats leaving the party. Here's the problem. We are not translating or transmitting or moving those people from the Democrat that slide over here to get out and vote. And I know this is an off season, nothing big and fun race this we just had, but all these races are just as important as the one before, because this is shaping our country, and the Democrats have been coming after these lower seats for the last couple of years, realizing that is where the control of the money really is. And look what's good. We've talked about this. Remember this show? And you just watch what Erie County does. You just watch what the city of Erie does. Now that they have two female hot shots in charge, I swear to God, they're going to try to outdumb each other. And just with the Democrat-controlled councils, they're going to basically have that control, except for the simple fact their plan didn't work very well. Charlie's still standing. Thank you, Jesus, that he's still standing, because even though they can get 4 votes to pass something, until Brenton leaves, they're going to block the veto. And then of course when Ms. Vogel comes online, you just watch. Woo! The money go flying. You just watch the money go flying. What do you got next for us, Brenda?
Well, this just in, we have a Fox News alert from Brooke Taylor. You won't believe this. DHS is confirming that an Afghan national was arrested Tuesday after posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb with an intended target of the Fort Worth area. Mohammed Dawood Al-Okazai is charged at the state level with making a terroristic threat. According to DHS, listen to this. He came to the United States as part of Operation Allies Welcome. So here you have it. This happened Tuesday. Texas Department of Public Safety. This is a second Afghan national, second one this week. Operation Allies Welcome. He had a terror plot. We know it comes the same week that deranged individual, that alleged assassin, took out 2 of our heroic National Guard, came here on the same program, Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we were assured time and time again by Mayorkas, by Jen Psaki, by Joe Biden himself was safe and secure. But here we have a second data point in 1 week that it was not safe, it was not secure. And we've got to look very hard at this program as President Trump is vowing to make change.
Can't make this stuff up. They're like, oh, that's just Fox. Well, you know what? And CNN's starting to report this stuff too. These are the cold, hard facts. These people are coming here to create havoc and chaos. We don't have enough havoc and chaos on our own. Let's just import more from Venezuela and the Middle East and become radicalized and all the crazy stuff. It's nice to see there's been a lot of shenanigans going on in New York. And it's nice to see that the New York Police Department is actually putting the boots down and saying that enough's enough. Here's the problem. You just wait till the new mayor kicks in, and he is going to be a total nut job until the city starts on fire by the whack jobs, because they're going to have no type of safeguards. like, oh yeah, he's our guy, he's going to take care of us. You just watch. You just, again, sit back, put some popcorn on, and watch from the safety of your house in the middle of nowhere that this thing is going to go bad and it's going to go south really fast. Brenda, I can't see the list of videos, so I don't know how many we have left. So you are 100% at the helm.
We have 2 left, one funny and one feel good.
All right. Well, I think that's a great way to end the show. You know, we try to kind of come down and drill down on the hard, important things that we need to have a discussion about and things we need to talk about and make available to you folks that can like, share. And again, you know, we've had this conversation before. I do need you guys to slide over to YouTube and start liking and subscribing on YouTube. These videos will not stick around on Facebook that long. They're going to start deleting this stuff out. So all our numbers come back really good on Facebook. We need to slide over to YouTube because they don't delete and they're not as harsh on the content. There we are. I know you folks like Facebook. I get that. I love Facebook, but YouTube. And here's the bottom line: the more people I get to watch on YouTube, the more money we make to help pay for the stuff we have to buy. You know, we just put the website up and running. You know, that costs a few bucks, and that's fine. You know, we don't mind eating the expense, but if we can get you guys to go to YouTube, we get dollars, and those dollars get reinvested back into the show and puts us on more platform and gets us on better searches. So we need to start sliding over that way. I appreciate it. If you don't know how to do it, Brenda, somebody will be more glad to help you figure that out. It's really, really simple. It's just boots on the ground with Brian Shank and Erie PA on YouTube. And again, we make dollars, takes the sting out of buying websites and addresses and pay for this and pay for that. I don't mind. I'm not complaining. But if YouTube is willing to pay me, let's take that money. It's real simple. Let's go ahead and wind this thing down. So I guess you got a couple good feel good videos. Let's do that. Now play that one again. The first time I saw that, I thought it was like an AI, but it's a huge Grinch stuck in a windstorm. I'm like, oh my God, that is so funny. And the music to Staying Alive is absolutely hilarious. I know it's short, but it is absolutely hilarious. Again, you know, trying to, you know, hit the hard stuff, hit the soft stuff. That way we can, you know, walk out here going, okay, that was funny, and we're like, oh, you know, if it's all negative, you know, that we don't want you to leave on a negative. We want to leave on a positive. This last one, I believe, is a feels good story that I when Brenda sent it, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So go ahead.
10 years of Thanksgiving meals shared by 2 strangers who met on accident. You might be familiar with the story. Wanda Dench texted Jamal Hinton in 2016, inviting him over to her Thanksgiving dinner. Dench meant to text her grandson, but doubled down on the invitation to Hinton. He showed up to her house for a plate of turkey.
It's just amazing to have a friendship where, you know, age makes no difference whatsoever. So I feel so blessed that he's in my life. I know there's no accidents, and it was serendipity, and I'm really joyful.
The two have gotten closer while celebrating Thanksgiving over the years, offering support to one another in times of need, like when Dench was diagnosed with breast cancer or when her husband died in 2020 from complications from COVID-19.
It's about each other's support and being there for one another. I mean, Wanda's been through a lot. I've been through a lot, and to stick together and talk about these things and kind of get through them together has just been a blessing of all sorts. So I appreciate you, Wanda.
Me too.
And this year marks a decade of friendship, but the pair say they're more like family.
It was just so unlikely that two polar opposites, it felt like, could come together and become such good friends and family members now. I'm most excited for Wanda to really meet my family. It's been some years.
And I know from just the way Jamal is, I wanted to thank his parents for their wonderful upbringing of Jamal.
There are good people in this world and in this country and in our townships and our neighborhoods. We have to remember that. We have a tendency to really focus on the negative, and we drill down on it because we want to spark change, and we need to make change. Like, I need to change over to YouTube so that way we can start making some more money and get better ratings. And again, I think that's it, right, Brenda?
That is it.
All right, well, we're going to officially bring this thing in for a landing like the late Scott Bremner always said at the end of his show. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I will be back Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll make the show a little bit better. Not much, because I'm sitting in a hotel room in an undisclosed, secure facility, doing what we do best, making sure our country's safe. Again, thank you all for coming out. A special thank you for Brenda for taking 100% control of the show tonight and steering it around the internet and making it all work. Be safe. I know you guys are getting a little snow where you're at. Where I'm at, there is no snow, so that's good. But it's not warm out. I'm not that far away because I'm still in a sweatshirt. Thank you all for coming out tonight on this Sunday night. Again, please be safe. Watch the weather. And like we said, Shank out.
Fight has never been clear. Take a good look in the mirror and tell me what you see. They throw their stones to silence people, build up their walls to celebrate evil. Destructions are what they seek, and they got their man Charlie. But like an avalanche rolling downhill, like a fighter imposing his will, an army is born. Like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. We cried and we mourned, but now this is war. One bullet, one shot, but don't be mistaken. They took out a life, but united a nation, and we are not afraid. We rise up against those demonic forces who kill and destroy, but for God who our Lord is, standing strong and brave. The sleeping giant waves, like an avalanche rolling downhill, like a fighter imposing his will. An army is born, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. We cried and we mourned, but now this is war. They took out someone, a dead husband and son, because of his views and his faith. They thought they had won, no idea what they've done. Now they're lying in the bed that they've made. They took out someone, a dead husband or son, because of his views and his faith. They thought they had won, no idea what they've done. Now they're lying in the bed that they've made, and they created a martyr that day. Like an avalanche rolling downhill, a prize fighter imposing his will. An army is born, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. We cried and we mourned, but now this is war. Like an avalanche rolling downhill, a prize fighter imposing his will. He lived without fear. Oh, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. It won't disappear. Now the whole world hears it from here.
All right, folks. Again, special thank you for Brenda for making everything happen tonight. I appreciate it. We'll be back again on Wednesday, probably the same location. I won't be back for a couple more days. I don't think I'll be home for Wednesday, but that's okay. We'll still do the show. We'll have things to talk about. And again, the website's up and running, botgwithbrianshank.com. Check us out, and we appreciate you all. And Shank.